Yes, so Trump met Putin in Alaska, then he met the Europeans in the White House, and not much has changed. You know, all this talk about, oh, we made great progress, but really nothing has changed. And I think the biggest obstacle is the territory. As I said in my last video, I said that the Russians want the rest of the Donbass, because the Donbass, which is is where this whole war between Russia and Ukraine started, with the separatists that, you know, they are Ukrainian citizens with Russian ethnicity, and that wanted to secede from Ukraine, and this is where it started. So I think the Russians are not willing to agree to a deal without the rest of that territory being under their control. And the Ukrainians, of course, have built massive fortifications there, so they don't want to give it up. So personally, I think this war will continue until the Russians have taken that territory. And I think it's around 6,000 square kilometers left. So by this rate of progress, it's probably going to take about a year for them to take this, if it accelerates at this rate. But the thing is, battlefield is not a linear change in the battlefield. Sometimes you will get a breakthrough, and, you know, very quickly the dominance can fall. So it might happen way faster, it might take longer. It really depends on how many men Ukraine are able to recruit, you know, in the army. Because we're hearing that they are having trouble recruiting enough people, because so many have already, you know, been already died in the war. And when it comes to the whole peace deal, I think that's the only way we get a peace deal, is when the Russians have taken the Donbass, then they themselves will either make a deal with the Ukrainians, or they might halt their attacks and maybe say, you know what, we've taken the Donbass, we're done, you know, the operation's over, and they just create defensive lines and just defend what they have. That's I think is the more likely outcome. Or they might, you know, take the Donbass and then, you know, try to get the rest of Zaporizhzhia, you know, try to move even further west to Mykolaiv. I don't know, or further south toward Mykolaiv. I don't know what they will do, but I don't see any peace happening anytime soon, that's for sure. At least not for another year.